This is commentary on Lesson 83 in the Workbook for A Course in Miracles. We are reviewing two ideas today. Lesson 65, My Only Function is the One God Gave Me, and Lesson 66, My Happiness and My Function are One. The practice instructions is that for the first half of the day we take one lesson, this one, My Only Function is the One God Gave Me, and then for the second half of the day we take this second lesson, My Happiness and My Function are One. And for each lesson, the practice is to have one longer practice period and shorter and frequent reminders of the lesson, of the thought for the day, reminding ourselves of that, and then applying the idea to any situations where we've lost our peace. And so it gives some specific applications of what that idea could be, but these words aren't important. It's just to get the concepts behind them. So in the longer practice periods, the idea is that we will read over this lesson and the comments several times if we wish. We get our mind focused on these ideas, and then we listen. That's, as I mentioned yesterday, this is an inkling of the end of the workbook, for at the end of the workbook we're to be left into the Holy Spirit's hands to be our guide, guide to perception, guide to thought, guide to what we would do, all of that. And that by doing the lessons, we've found that place inside of us where that guidance exists, so we don't need specific lessons anymore because we're just listening to the Holy Spirit. So it says here, spend the major part of the time listening quietly but attentively. There is a message waiting for you. Be confident that you will receive it. Remember that it belongs to you and that you want it. So this is some sort of guidance that's just for us, that we're entitled to now because we're trying to do these workbook lessons. So it'll be something important inside. So we want to listen. And sometimes that message is just a state of tranquility. It doesn't necessarily have to be an idea or words, but some sort of sense of some connection to the Holy Spirit. So it says, do not allow so we do this first phase where we repeat the lesson, try and think about it, and then we listen. And if our mind is wandering from that listening, then we come back to the first phase, read it again, get our mind focused into those thoughts, and then try and listen again. So we're trying to structure that mind to get to these right thinking, to this right-mindedness, so we can hear the Holy Spirit, because that's where the Holy Spirit is. The Holy Spirit's in that right mind of ours, our right thinking, our sane thinking about who we are. Okay, so then it says here, do not allow your intent to waver in the face of distracting thoughts. Realize that whatever form such thoughts may take, they have no meaning and they have no power. Replace them with your determination to succeed. Do not forget that your will has power over all fantasies and dreams. Trust it to see you through and carry you beyond them all. So this is, there's always a traditional idea of what's the relationship between grace and self-effort. And because self-effort seems to cancel grace. Well, it's still true. Everything is a function of grace. We need that higher being inside of us. We need that grace in order that we succeed in here. But the self-effort is that we have to open ourselves up to it. Love is such that it's not going to overpower us. It respects the freedom of our minds. So our only job is to offer an invitation to this love to speak to us. And that's something only we can do. Nobody else can do it. God can't do it for us. In the end, His grace will give us the power to do it. But our will has the power over these fantasies and these dreams about who we are, about who others are, how things should be. And we want to trust it to see it through and carry it. We have to believe in ourselves and our strength, that we don't have to listen to the ego. So then it goes on to say, Regard these practice periods as dedications to the way, the truth, and the life. So that was the traditional idea of Jesus saying, I am the way and the truth and the light. But what the Course is saying is that we're just like Him. We are the way, the truth, and the life. This first set of lessons in here said, I am the light of the world, that we're building our whole foundation on the fact that you're the light of the world, and your function is to let that light shine. So refuse to be sidetracked into detours, illusions, and thoughts of death. You're dedicated to salvation. Be determined each day not to leave your function fulfilled. So I really encourage you to practice these lessons as they're written, to take these up specifically as they're instructing to do, and that way we'll get the benefit from them. Okay, so today's lessons that we're reviewing, my only function is the one God gave me. I have no function but the one God gave me. This recognition releases me from all conflict because it means I cannot have conflicting goals, and with one purpose only, I'm always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. All doubts must disappear as I acknowledge my only function is the one God gave me. Think about that for a second, how huge that is. With one purpose only, which is forgiveness, being the light of the world. With that one purpose, then we're always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. That's not something the ego can claim. So, and that's huge to have that kind of certainty. Okay, so all doubt will disappear in that. So that's the longer practice period. We spend 10 or 15 minutes first reading this, holding on to the ideas, and then listening for a message inside for us. So then throughout the day, first half of the day, as we're reminding ourselves of the lesson, when we're tempted to lose our peace, we might say something like, my perception of this does not change my function. This does not give me a function other than the one God gave me. Let me not use this to justify a function God did not give. So these are, you don't need these particular words, but some thought or concept that's congruent with what the Course calls related thoughts. Okay, so for the second half of the day, we're reviewing this lesson. My happiness and my function are one. All things that come from God are one. They come from oneness and must be received as one. Fulfilling my function is my happiness because both come from the same source. And I must learn to recognize what makes me happy if I would find my happiness. So without divided function and performing only the function God would give me, then we'll have happiness, because happiness and function, the function of God is the same thing. All right, so here's some useful forms for a specific application. Something comes up and you can say, this cannot separate my happiness from my function. The oneness of my happiness and my function remains wholly unaffected by this. Nothing, including this, can justify the illusion of happiness apart from my function. So these are the situations. This is the demonstrative this, meaning something very specific. This cannot separate my happiness from my function. So throughout the day, we're encouraged to keep us focused on our function and not be diverted. And if we are, then we'll apply these kinds of ideas. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.